Yo people, welcome back to another video. Now today I'm going to be giving you my predictions for Clash in Paris in what feels like a very lackluster PLE. But don't just take my word for it. As of today, the day of recording, Wednesday 27th of August, these are the available seats for the event, and I'm sure a lot of it has been covered up since people first started exposing how low the event sales have been. On top of that, WWE has gone and cancelled the meet and greets that they have, where they have the wrestlers, you can pay for autograph, picture, all of that stuff. They had Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Stephanie Vakir, The New Day, The Judgment Day, and more wrestlers, and they've cancelled it. I've never heard of them actually cancelling those, but I guess there's a first time for everything. Even the branding for this PLE shows how stupid the creatives are. Whoever designed all of this, whoever thought this would be a great idea, fire them immediately. How can you have created some of the ugliest match card artwork based on the Starry Night, a piece of art created by a Dutch artist, not even French, Dutch, where the original is in a museum in New York, so not even Paris, and inspiration for the scenery was Saint Remy, again nothing to do with Paris. Now with the amount of forced PLEs we've been having this year, it feels like we're getting burnouts and fatigue, and I'm a believer that if content is good enough, then fatigue isn't possible. It's the same as winning. When your team is winning, they win the championship, you never get fatigued. How can you get tired of winning? And it's the same with WWE, especially in 2025. I'm having to skip some of the shows because it's getting unwatchable. I think it's getting to the point that we can all agree that there has been a decline in this product, especially compared to when Roman Reigns was head of the table, the bloodline was active. However, since TKO took over in general, everything's gone down. There's been a push for so many PLEs, and by doing so, there's just no time to do any storytelling for feuds. The build-ups feel very rushed or lackluster because every 2 to 3 weeks, there's some form of PLE, so everything ultimately feels forced, underwhelming, rushed, with no time to build any stakes or feuds properly. But yeah, anyways, let's just do this whole match card. The first match is Sheamus versus Rusev, and to be honest, I skip these matches when they're on Raw. All the segments, all the matches, I skip. I don't care. I don't even care about this match. I like Sheamus, but Rusev is a bum. He shouldn't be at WWE. The fact that WWE even tried to make him some sort of Raw after WrestleMania surprise return shows how delusional they are. Karrion Kross, who I don't rate by the way, he had more hype than Rusev, and he's been released. That doesn't even make sense. Rusev failed once and he'll fail again because he's not that guy. He will never be main event talent, so why are we wasting time here? Why are we focusing so much on him when he's a bum? We live in a world where wrestlers like Carmelo Hayes can't secure a PLE match, even if it's to get pinned. He cannot secure one, but failed scrubs, verified scrubs like Rusev can. This, in my opinion, is a useless match with a useless outcome. They tried to spice things up by making the match, what was it, a Donnybrook match? Apparently it's so that they can use weapons on each other, but it's whatever. I don't care. We should be using those weapons on WWE creators because they stink. And I feel bad for Sheamus. Like I said, I respect him. I like him. He's not bad. He's a bit washed now, but that's normal with time. But he should be trying to go for an Intercontinental title. Hopefully he still can. But both wrestlers in this match are in a position of irrelevance. So a loss for either of them does no favors. Now, based off the fact that Rusev is getting forced onto every Monday Night Raw every single week, I'm gonna have to assume that Rusev is gonna win, although I hope Sheamus does. Next up is Stephanie Vakir's match against the new World Heavyweight Champion. Oh, wait, yeah, they scrapped all of that. They said, forget that. Remember when Stephanie Vakir won her match and that guaranteed her a match for the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash in Paris? We're here and we got nothing. Instead, we got Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella forced in, and it will be for the Intercontinental Championship, of course. And to be honest, this has been rushed. It's forced. I know it's a replacement match, but I just don't care. They were actually cooking with that feud, and now their build-up is being sacrificed, and for me, it just doesn't feel like we're ready to even have the match. I think they needed more time to marinate, build this feud up, but it's whatever. By the way, if they're talking about replacement matches, they literally announced AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title next week on Raw. So why not just have that match at Clash in Paris? Now you'll say the whole, oh, but it's because they won't have a female match. Make one up. That's the whole point of having a whole creative team employed. As for what we got, Becky Lynch has actually been cooking these last few weeks on the mic, looks better in general compared to Nikki Bella, and in general she's improved compared to when she was working with Lyra Valkyria. Now I have to wonder, did WWE tell her to go easy on Lyra on the mic, for example? But she's cooking Nikki. Nikki never really has much to say apart from calling her a bitch for a quick pop. But overall, I think Becky Lynch will win this match. They'll probably have a rematch because this got forced, but hopefully with that marination and more build up, it will actually become an elite match. But yeah, this is very premature. It is what it is. I understand creative isn't creative. Next up is Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed, and we're talking about the tribal chief that held his title for 4 years and got no rematch for it. We're talking about a guy with maybe 2 to 3 years left at the company on a part-time schedule, which is roughly, let's give or take, 16 to 24 pay-per-views left, and he's wasting his time feuding with Bronson Reed. One thing that I will give credit for before I roast is this week's Monday Night Raw, when they did the whole Roman and Bronson on the mic promo back and forth, something actually clicked in the feud and it made it more interesting. Their promos were actually good, and it's a shame that Bronson never gets to speak, and when he does, it's some stupid gimmicky thing in the ring when he's with Seth and Braun Breaker. Why are we only finding out that Bronson is Samoan? Why has this not been a thing from the very moment he stepped foot in the Seth Rollins faction? But it is what it is. We're getting somewhere now. He's someone that actually has been trying to do the most with the bare minimum that he's been given. The Shula Fala, the Tribal Thief, all of these things he's playing with. He's trying to find a way out of this bummery that has been the vision. But I just don't see this guy ever reaching those levels of being a consistent main event talent. However, I respect Bronson, what he's trying to do. I'm actually looking forward to this match a lot more just based off of what we saw on Raw compared to the weeks before. Now, like I said, I don't think Bronson is main event talent. So if they dare to make him pin Roman Reigns, what are we doing here? It will just show that Roman Reigns is officially being sabotaged, because there's a lot of people that have been saying, how can he be sabotaged? He gets all these loud pops, but he's hardly winning matches. And if he's doing matches, he's wasting his time doing tag matches with Jey Uso at SummerSlam. Having said that, they're trying to push the vision. They're trying to push Bronson and Braun Breaker. So if you have Bronson lose yet again, because this guy eats all the pins, it just doesn't make him look serious. It does no favors for him. Like I said, they're trying to push this guy as part of the next big thing, but he gets pinned all the time. No one cares about Braun Breaker and Bronson, and now when they're starting, or at least Bronson is starting to do his own thing, have his own gimmick, he loses. So what's the point? However, I do think that Roman Reigns will win this match, and it's because he's mentioned that he's going to be chasing gold after this, and losing to Bronson Reed doesn't exactly warrant chasing gold. Even though he's owed his rematch, I just don't think him losing and then chasing gold, that doesn't make sense. Up next, we have the fatal four-way match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, LA Knight and Jey Uso. Basically, everyone that needed a rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship got thrown into one match, and obviously LA Knight, he's only here because he beat Seth Rollins at Saturday Night Main Event. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns still hasn't been given a rematch a year and a half later. But anyways, it's obvious Seth will retain. It will be because of Braun and Bronson, because it's a fatal four-way, there's no stipulations, so that's their excuse to add those guys in. LA Knight will probably get pinned since Triple H hates him, and that's about that really. I'd advise to keep an eye out in case we see one last Seth Rollins member join, but apart from that, business as usual, Seth will be winning. Last but not least is the forced agenda of John Cena versus Logan Paul. WWE is hyping this up, calling it a generational match, but let's be real, it's a match no one wanted to see, and it's not necessarily because it's Logan Paul and people hate Logan Paul. It's more the fact that it goes against the storytelling from when Cena was a heel. It once again shows that that whole heel run was fabricated. It was just on the spot. What can we do? Make something up. Let's go with John Cena going heel. There was no planning, just like the Star Wars sequels. These two already work together as well. So just leave it as that. I'd rather have John Cena face Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title than this. I'd rather have John Cena face someone he's never faced before than have this. I'd rather just see something completely different than this. No more recycling people he's already had matches with this year. The fact that Brock Lesnar attacked John Cena at SummerSlam and isn't a match for this PLE further shows us how stupid creative is over at WWE, and this match will probably end with Brock Lesnar being a distraction, costing John Cena the match, just so John Cena can lose. They entertain that feud while having Logan Paul pick up the win because Triple H has a dirty fetish with Logan Paul. Undeserved wins left, right and centre, and wins that no one really cares about. But I still haven't forgotten how AJ Styles was made to lose at WrestleMania 41 for this prime merchant. Speaking of AJ Styles, by the way, the streets are allegedly saying that John Cena was meant to fight AJ Styles, and that fight was meant to be one of the last ones for John Cena this year, but that apparently got changed and AJ Styles has been replaced by Brock Lesnar, which, if it's true, once again, it shows us that Triple H and the whole of creative team, they're not good enough to be in charge of this company, to be calling the shots to this level. Everything is what he thinks, even if it's wrong, and at times delusional. Not to forget that he fuels fake propaganda, fake narratives to control the sheep opinions online and then pile on people that think differently. And then he gets misled by fake stats while often creating them. This guy is an absolute shambles, and this pay-per-view will be one of the biggest flops. They can do whatever they want to spin this, but at the end of the day, it's going to be lackluster by design. I mean, we got Sheamus versus Rusev. Who cares? Why is this even on a PLE? PLEs have been hyped up as this thing where you get to see matches you don't usually get to see. And we're seeing Rusev versus Sheamus for the 8,000th time. They literally stop us from having good matches with two good wrestlers at a time on regular Monday Night Raws and Friday Night SmackDowns just because they want to emphasize how good PLEs are meant to be. And in a chance to prove that this is why you're doing it, you give us Sheamus versus Rusev. So if anything, now you're contradicting your bookings and the way that you do PLEs. So again, throw this whole thing in the bin. 2026, they need to start again fresh. Fire about 80% of the people involved in creative. Whoever it is, I don't care, get out. I don't care if you're a legend or you're not legend, get out. But yeah, as always, let me know your predictions down below in the comments for this pay-per-view. I'd appreciate if you could leave a like on the video, sub to the channel, and thank you for your time.